Friggin' AT&T. Alright, we're coming back. Anyway. Alright, can you guys hear me okay now? Alright, AT&T. Yeah, screwed me again. So, now that we're somewhat back, our rotation is absolutely wrong. I mean, seriously, if I don't put anything there, I'd be just as good on my rotation for that spell. So what I'm probably going to end up having to do...
It's great to meet you.
Yes, great to meet you too. Is, if I don't move at all, it's not pointing in the right direction. If I move this way, it is pointing in the right direction. So if I look this way, it's going directly to the left. But if I move my mouse, it's not supposed to move also. I've never had this issue before. Yeah, she's had some really plutonium-based chilies. So. Oh, there we go. That's the good stuff. Oh, yeah. Get it on out there. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Hey. You know, I have never seen this freaking issue before. You know, where moving the mouse has actually changed projectile movement. I've never had this issue doing the same thing every time, and all the way up until 419. Yeah, I mean, it's going to be something simple that I can adjust and change, but it's never been a problem before. I've used this same setup multiple times and never had an issue until 419 comes along and everything is just screwed up for me. I can't launch the projects normally. I have to open the engine and then open the project, whereas before I could just come in here and just double click on the actual project and it loads right up. Just so many things are being absolutely freaking dorky. You guys know that I'm streaming. Why are you talking to me? 600. Okay, yeah, that's cool. Awesome. And tell everybody in the public lobby that okay, I'm broadcasting and I'm talking in the Paragon section. Oh, let's take a look again here. On our transform and our attached to component, we're coming off of the cast orb as our parent. I'm actually gonna bring it off of the mesh instead. No, I don't want it to come off the mesh because the projectile does need to come off from the cast orb because that's what we created it for. Because there's no actual socket that it's being transmitted from. Spawn transform. Yeah, there has been some, like in here, if you look at the viewport, it shows idle animations. But if you go to disable real time and then you change something, then all of a sudden she'll go into a T-pose. Your character goes into a T-pose. It's been some weird errors with 419 that weren't happening before. Yeah, there's been just oddball stuff. Gotta spawn transform. If we actually use our mesh and then get see, I got the can't use socket rotation because I'm not using a socket. get the world rotation, which is what I almost always use. Um, get absolute. I've never used that before. Um, I'm just going to do get world rotation. It's what I've always used. And compile and save. Let's try this off of the mesh, though.
Hi there.
The sword isn't, well, yeah, technically there is, but isn't on the sword because it's actually the mesh. So if I were to dump that, the mesh is where, well, see, I've got the cast orb. The orb is right here. It's directly in front of her, and technically it doesn't truly exist. But I can rotate it 90 degrees. I'm not rotating it that direction. I'm going this way, which is supposed to rotate it this way. Yeah, there's the root on it as well. Usually when you have this problem with a weapon, whenever you're spawning it, the projectile from the muzzle, usually it's that. And you see, it's not changing. It's still going in that direction. So, if I went back in here to the graph and added back in the transforms again, because I'm not using it from, there's no socket to use. I'm casting it from the cast orb. It's coming from the orb. To use her sword, I actually just created a collision box for the sword. And the only time that the sword actually does damage is whenever there's a mild delay whenever she starts to swing the sword until it actually begins doing damage, and then it stops doing damage. You have to enable and disable the fact that it can do damage, or else it's like a lightsaber. It'll always be doing damage. You can walk by somebody and kill them. You don't even have to you don't have to swing. So you actually have to create a collision box, have a delay system, and create a variable saying is attacking, can attack, that kind of stuff. But it's simple little things like spawning a projectile. I never have these issues, and then suddenly it just pops up and it becomes an issue. My other project is doing the same thing. And probably if I move the camera and reposition things, I don't want to go to a first person view. I want to keep third person view. But there's ways of setting the camera to do different things and character movement to follow the mouse movement and that kind of stuff. But I kind of like the fact that whenever you go into the game,
It's great to meet you.
that whenever you go in, you're running around, you're doing your thing, you can move your mouse around, you can have different views of what you're doing.
Better luck next time.
Because, it's fun to look at, right? Not that I want to keep looking at her stomach, it's because the corpse is there. But you can pan around and look at your character, and just, to me, I think that's a good thing.
Sorry.
Well, I can actually
Ooh, not your best performance.
take the, see, I've got it attached to the camera. By attaching it to the camera, it's wherever you're looking is where it's going to cast, and that's what's supposed to work. But if I were to attach it to the mesh, which is where I originally had it, having it on the mesh, and I'll zero it out. No, you friggin' piece of shit. I did not fucking tell you to do that. It just moved the whole friggin' mesh. I moved it to there, and then I go to actually move the orb and to do something with it and zero out the coordinates, and it somehow went back to her instead. So it just moved her all around. So I had to back up a few times. So with the coordinates zeroed out and the rotation set back to 0, it's now attached to the mesh. I can then socket it to the head if I want to. FX kiss emote. Really? Really? I forgot that was there. Heart emote and kiss emote. Damn, I'm sitting here trying to put all this damn coordinates in for the little heart effects whenever you first start the the thing. So yeah, I'm going to go back and fix that here in just a second. Now the sword tip is way out. I'm just going to put it onto the FX head. I don't want that either. I may use that. Breast R. She has a left and right breast socket. Really? Did she really need socket for her shin bees? So that's why I don't like attaching it to a socket, especially with one that's wiggly like she is. She's moving all around, and you notice where this would be the axis that the spell would cast from. Well, yeah, she does need to have a little bit of jiggle with her wiggle, but so I didn't want to parent it from the head. Excuse me. I honestly would be better off spawning it from her damn foot and just moving the thing up. Her left foot. The hand that sticks out is not bad, but it's moving awful much too. Her left foot doesn't really change much. So I'm going to try it off of the left foot. Foot left. And then I'm going to have to probably change the way that it works from there. And I'm going to have to raise it up as well. Because we don't want it coming out at ground level. So yeah, let's run it at 0, 0, 150. So that little heart thing right there, still going the same damn direction. But it doesn't matter which way I face, it's still going that direction. Yeah, I'll have to work on that. I will take a look at where I had that begin play, spawn emitter, level start. I can actually go back here and delete the location. Yeah, I can get rid of that. Can actually get socket location. the socket name that I want to get is... Oh, come on now. Let's actually just look at the skeleton and get it. There's a socket location for the no, I didn't make a new mesh for her. Where was it? There's her breasts. Muzzle. Okay. Fix trail. Heart emote. So that's what I want right there. So the socket name that I want is FX heart emote, and then I can do that. Compile and save, and that should be correct for her playing
Oh, you're so
that.
sweet.
So that works. So now back to the on the spellcast. I did that before, and I based it off of the mesh and get location, or you get the rotation. Get world rotation, and then you throw that into there, compile it and save it, and that didn't really do anything. So
It's great to meet you.
so yeah, it's still gone, and it's still tracking wrong too, so shooting the wrong direction, and it's still being manipulated by turning. So
Boom. Bye. You were great.
alright, so yeah. Do a quick save because I haven't saved in a little while. Got the rotation there from that spawn transform. Ditch that again, and from the socket name, this technically should go into the skeleton and create a new one. I'm using the default that came with her. I didn't change anything with her camera. So this shouldn't be skeleton. Is there a socket that I can physically use? Got muzzle 01, which tells me that that muzzle socket doesn't belong to her, it belongs to somebody else. That it was copied in here from a borrowed skeleton. Her face is fully rigged, so if anybody wanted to really get in there and get up close and yeah, hello, animate her mouth for talking or whatever else. Her lips, eyelids, they're all animated, or they're all rigged. Aim target. You know what? Whatever. I'm just going to grab it for now. instead of cast orb. We're going to dump the cast orb for now. Going to set the socket to aim target. Parent then has to be mesh. And then we're going to have to add some form of transform. So from that we can just do our make transform again. Yeah, this is super easy. This is awesome, right? Again, about as much fun as watching paint dry.
Oh, you're so sweet.
What the flip was that all about? Seriously? Okay, it's still going in the wrong direction, but all right, so you know, the best thing I can do for right now is when things are just being stupid is stop doing it. I can come back to it, and the next time I come into it, I'll zip right through it. It won't be a problem. So for now, I'm just going to dump it and get rid of the issue and work on the issue another time. But yeah, so we've dumped the spell.
Hi there.
We got that fixed correctly. It now spawns in the correct location. Now that we know there's a socket for it. We've got some effects done.
Boom.
The combo attack is working.
Sorry.
She says stuff whenever you smack things with a rock.
Bye.
And you can also
That's right. Bring it.
you can do some of the emotes. The sounds aren't synced with them as well, but you know, it's a start.
Mwah. To all my fans.
Yeah, see, this, I would have to spend a lot of time working on each individual element.
Mwah. To all my fans.
So yeah, the rest of her animations all are working, and honestly, I don't really want to throw a. I could, but like I said, this is just tinkering right now, just trying to get things established, see what's what, trying to learn what she's supposed to be like. I don't know anything about her. So not knowing anything about the character is kind of hard. It's like this right here. I could add effects to this. You know, I want to get little things done until I can get someone else to jump in on board to work on this project. I mean, I'm the only person that's working on it, so, and it's not my primary project. So yeah, that's that. So damn, I got up there one time, now I can't get back up there. So like, there's no sound to the sword right now. Whenever I swing, there should be a whoosh sound or something to say that I'm using it. So I never played Paragon either, but you know, it's all about experimenting with things, and if I'm going to do these things, I'm going to make it my own version, and we can just get in there and just hammer out some stuff and say, okay, this is what I want, this is what I want, this is what I want. Even though this is not a project that I really want to take part of, I know that there's people on my team, I won't mention any names, that do want this, and I'm sure that they could use it for something that they want, but, you know, the main project is actually what so far has just been in the live streams has been the pirate stuff, and okay, I mean that's it's not going to stay pirates.
It's great to meet you.
The pirates are not going to go away. They're always going to be a part of it.
Ah!
Ouch, that hurt. So stuff like this, it's a great
Your best performance.
way to experiment with melee combat and setting up swords and this and that and everything else.
Better luck next time.
Well, you clip the corner of it, you don't jump very far, but you get a good run on it, you can set it up. So stuff like, you know, this. If I want to hold down shift key, I want to be able to sprint and run faster. And have a different animation. So I got to get all these, hello, and now I just get a triple jump and I'm going to fall off the world. Yay. So, so I'll do the emote in the air. That's great. So yeah, I haven't set a Z kill height yet, so yeah, she'll just fall for about a half hour. But we can do the emotes in the air.
That's right. Bring it.
So yeah, that didn't work out too well. And yeah, we fell good ways here. And you know, there's a way to resolve that issue too, and that's to kill your player off at a much lower distance. Go to world settings, kill Z. We'll set this at negative 2000, and now I won't be able to jump out of the map. I guarantee you.
So sweet.
Now that I want to try and need to check something, I won't be able to jump out the frickin' map. Well, that was a good jump. Now, one of the things I did, one of the other games I was messing with for a project was when you hit that launch pad, it doesn't immediately launch you. There's a delay, so you can hit jump, and then while you're in the air, you get a double jump effect. So you know what? I'm not going to sit here and keep screwing with that whenever I can just come over here and go to my trigger, launch pad, and launch velocity. I don't care. Let's go to 5,000. Let's get some airtime. We're definitely going to fall out of the world this time. So, there. Just fell out, went past the 2,000, and it killed the character. So, it works. So, definitely got to turn the launch pad back down again. So, it will probably piss people off to no end that are Paragon people. But was also considering the fact that, you know, there we go. That's what I was trying to do. Look at her animations and see what I can come up with that is something besides her carrying a sword. They all have swords, or a staff. The only one that I found with a gun so far was Twin Blast. Twin Blast has, well, twin guns, and that's all fine and dandy, but yeah, I mean, technically speaking it is. You can go in there, because if you look at the model, where's Mesh? Look back at the skeleton. The weapon in some of the animations is detached from her skeleton, and I don't want there to be a sword on the character, and I don't want there to be a staff on the other characters. So, and this is actually not the actual sword. This is just the sword socket locations, and then the sword is part of the skeleton. And I would really want to ditch completely the entire sword. So, if I could detach weapons from all these characters, that would be so much better. That way I can actually leech down all these friggin' things and get rid of some of these extra sockets that are non-universal. And then I can take all the skeletons and merge them all. Yeah, it's mixed in with the material. It's mixed in with the skeleton. It's part of the skeleton. So, I would have to get somebody to go into the actual skeleton and remove the sword. And from all the characters, I want no weapons, because I want to manually attach the weapons to them and be able to switch. If I want to give Shinbi a damn sniper rifle, I want to give her a sniper rifle. Well, yeah, I know how. I'm not going to do it right now. The skeleton mesh. Because her sword's also different. Yeah, that didn't work well. And see, that's just part of the sword there. And 9 was that part of it as well. But, I just really want to. And honestly, this was never meant to be a full-fledged project. This is meant to be something to fiddle around with. Next thing you know, I got 100 people that are wanting to see me rebuild Paragon. And, I mean, I don't want to disappoint anybody, but, honestly, I'd rather have someone just go in there and rip through all these models and rip the weapons out. To me, I don't want to have to sort through this and whenever somebody else wants to do it and rip it out and wants to jump in and help with this project, knock themselves out. I mean, this is, like I said, is not going to be my primary. I mean, it looks like a lot of fun to play with, but wow, that's just creepy. Instead of teeth floating in the friggin' air. Yeah, I'm going to screw around with that one and do the one other feature that'll be relatively quick that I said I was going to consider doing. Was the fact that she had a couple other skins. The black and gold, the Dynasty skin. And the white and purple looks good too, but you've also got Jade. Depends on how you export it. If you export it correctly as a good FBX, you can probably go into Blender and do it. Since there's 3 skeletal meshes for, should be, can actually go into the player character and again with the keybind, we still have E we're not using right now, so it was the quick cast, so we press E. So for right now I'm just going to utilize that key for something else. No, yeah, set skeletal mesh, and with that can do this, where you got select the mesh to use. Come in here, just be a jackass and say mesh to use, and then we will make that a skeletal mesh. Get an object reference to that. We want to make it editable, and sure, let's make it replicated. And then we can link that to here. Okay, so with that, we actually don't need it off of there. We need that somewhere else. We can actually put that onto a custom event. So we can set our skeletal mesh. So what I want to do is whenever I hit the key right here, I want to generate a random number between 1 and 3, or 0 and 2, excuse me. Yeah. Random integer in range from 0 to 2. The return value we then want to yeah, okay, never mind. Brain fart. No, all you have to do is hit equal twice, you idiot. Yeah, see, it's getting about time for me to stop streaming and take a break, because I'm just making stupid errors. So we want to get a random integer in range, and if it's equal to 0, and we need to go ahead and just take and Control C, Control V. So if it's equal to 0, if it's equal to 1 and 2, so what we're trying to do here is create a random. It'll randomly pick, and we need 3 branch nodes, and we can go from there. So on the condition for each of these branches, what will happen is if it is true for 0, then what we want is set skeletal mesh, and no, that's not what we want. We want to do that, and we want to copy that a couple times as well, but I'm going to go ahead and link it up here, and what we're going to do is faults to here, faults to here, and we can do this. So now we've got on the skeletal meshes, we just need to find, we got Jade, Dynasty. Okay, we got Shinbi, Jade, and Shinbi Dynasty. And yeah, so then we can take this right here and drag it over. And we need to connect set skeletal mesh. We don't even really need that, I don't think. Yeah, I'm just totally brain farting right now. So if we do this, when we press the key, what will happen is it will generate a random number, and from that random number, if it's 0, we'll use the regular Shinbi. If it's 1, we'll become Shinbi Jade. If we're 2, it'll become Shinbi Dynasty, and we don't need that. So set skeletal mesh to use, and let's see what we got. Yep, it's bound to a key. All right, let's go, Chicky. And it's doing nothing, so yeah, just for grins. So we actually need to do a set skeletal mesh. So from the end of each of these, we need to be able to set the skeletal mesh still. And the mesh that we need to use is mesh to use. So when we press the key, it's going to generate the random number, and then it sets the skeletal mesh. Well, I've done this before. I've done it several times today, actually, and it worked just fine. Actually, look at something really quickly here. Nope. That's fine. I mean, honestly, I'd probably try it a different way as well. So we need to... This should, in theory, work, though. When I press the key, it's supposed to do that, but it's not actually... It's setting the mesh to use. So let's actually try just... because it does need to connect over to that.
You're so sweet.
Like that. Wow, how many times? That was like 5 clicks in a row, and it kept giving me the original. There, finally got freaking Jade. So, yeah, just by hitting the key, I can cycle between the costumes. Now I won't get the black one again. There we go.
Ooh, not your best performance. Bye.
Alright, so today was all about just smoothing and experimenting and throwing in some effects and so forth. We know we got a health regeneration system working, so... And we have health kits, and just a random spawner for testing effects, and the launch pad. So everything seems to be working, so I think it's best we leave this on a high note. So we're into about 2 hours, I think, for this. Yeah, not including a shutdown on my frickin' internet twice tonight during streaming. So I've got to do an upload of the dev build for my team. I told them I would get that done. Yeah, I still got to finish redoing the death animations, but I'm gonna get back to working on the main project, which is the one that we looked at earlier with the pirates and the other stuff. That one's going to be a lot more involved than just a pirate running around with a musket. There's going to be melee combat in that one as well. I've got to revamp the entire weapons swapping system around. Yeah, there's a lot of work left to do on that one, because whenever you're in the pirate mode, you're going to have pirate-based weapons, and that's the only thing you can use. If you're running around as a knight in shining armor, then you can only use those kind of weapons. But if you go into a modern version, then you're going to have modern weapons. You're going to have an M4. You're going to have, that kind of stuff. In fact, what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to minimize everything back down so it's all nice and clean. Make sure I do a good save all. And everything is good. Save that. And then I'm going to open up another project really quickly. Because one of the things that I'm going to do is I want to look through this automotive materials one. I don't know if anybody's seen that one yet. I'm going to pick through there and I'm going to rip out some of those materials, because that's almost a gigabyte just for materials. I'm not going to add that to a project just so I can have those materials. I will more likely just rip out the ones that I need and go from there. Downfalls is probably going to have to load a lot of shaders right now, so bear with me. We'll take a look at this together, and then we're going to go ahead and kick off from this live stream. You guys need to check in with my Discord and let me know if there's anything you want to help with, or if you have questions about what we're doing with the project or whatever else. Come on and visit. I'm here quite a bit throughout the day, and sometimes I'm here early in the morning. Sometimes I'm here all the way until 6 o'clock in the morning Eastern time. So it just varies. Somebody's around, you know. So this is going to take a minute. I haven't read it before, so I don't know what all's in there. Good God, it's sitting at 45%. Yeah, I'm going to sit here and hold you guys up with watching the editor initialize. So Um, Again, with the Discord channel, that is your best way to contact me. If you send me messages on YouTube, I'm gonna see them eventually, but I may not see them for, you know, hours, several hours. Um, to explore all the stuff from the assets that were available, just get them. They're free. I mean, if you go to the marketplace, and this is going to take a while to load those, so I'll skip over to here. You go to the I mean, there's a lot of cool stuff in the marketplace, but there's a new tab called Free. You click on the Free tab, and here you go. All the Paragon stuff is right there. Oh, export. Yeah, well, I'm going to have to get back into the editor, and I'm waiting for that, and it's sitting at 45%. So that's going to be a little bit. An NPC fight, NPC fighting. Yeah, I've already got some pre-made stuff floating around that I can set up for non-player characters to be able to swing a sword and attack and stuff like that. But the dynamic combat system has it, but it's a whole different method of how they do it. Could probably adapt their behavior tree over, but I would say if you're wanting to learn how to do NPC stuff, there is a few good videos that are out there.